What's up, and welcome back to NFL Matchup. We are here for week 2, and the NFL is underway, man. It's a beautiful thing. Before you do anything, though, make sure you do yourself a favor. Comment on this video, man. Like the video first and foremost. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a thing. All right, here, Cover 2 Bros, man. You got myself, my brother B Woo. We give you the best NFL content that you can find anywhere in the world, man. We're getting you taken care of with Cover 2 with B Woo and Earl Knows It All. That's our flagship show. It drops each and every single Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. If you're an Atlanta Falcons fan specifically, you're dealing with some heartbreak. Young Way Cool let you down again. It doesn't matter, man. We're here to help you work through that, man. That toxicity that you feel with the Atlanta Falcons, come right here each and every single Monday at 8 a.m. Bird Talk is a show for you, man. We give you all of the coverage exclusive to the Atlanta Falcons. And each and every Thursday, we do this right here, NFL Matchup. We preview each game from week 1. We gave you all the games in week 1. I guess we can kind of see what I did with the games, see how well I fared with my predictions. From week 1 all the way to week 18, we give you each and every single game, break it down, tell you what's going to happen in that game, who's going to win it. And like I said, if you like to lay a little money down on it, man, you can do whatever your leisure is, man, but do it so responsibly, of course. Now, week 1 is in the books, man. Football is back. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so happy that football is back. I got an opportunity on Sunday just to kind of veg out all day, watch football, not be bothered. Although I was a little sickened by some of the outcomes for some of the teams that I look at and root for or have a rooting interest in. Atlanta Falcons, here's looking at you. Baltimore Ravens, my God, what are you doing? How do you blow that game? Hey, man, but the beautiful thing about this thing is it's only 1 week. 1 game, that's it, man. So everybody come down off the ledge. It's okay. It's not time to panic yet. You got week 2 coming. We got some pretty good matchups that we're going to go over and give you our predictions for. Now, this is where things start to get a little hairy, though, because if you fall into that 0-2 trade, you may be in trouble. So you want to make sure you handle your business in this particular game. If you're a team that's looking at 0-1 already, if you're 1-0, hope springs eternal still for you. Feel pretty good. You won your first game. You came out on opening day, handled your business. So, you're feeling pretty good about yourselves, man. So we're going to go through each one of these games, give you what our prediction is for them. And we will start with this game right here first, Thursday night, happening today. Thursday night, 2 teams who look pretty good on their opening game, man. We got the Commanders taking on the Packers. And this will be a fun one. I'm glad this is kind of an early season Thursday night game. The first game we saw on Thursday night, of course, was the Cowboys versus the Eagles. The Eagles got their championship banner raised and some fireworks before the first real snap of the game from scrimmage with Jalen Carter getting thrown out of that game for spitting on Dak Prescott. Well, this game I think will be maybe a little bit more civil, but you got 2 teams who have some big-time aspirations in the Washington Commanders coming into Lambeau Field. This is probably one of the best times to go when it's not, 20 degrees or, -0 out there in the freezing cold and the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. But they run into a formidable foe and a team that looked Super Bowl ready to me. That's right. I made my predictions, man. I said, of course, that the Eagles and Ravens will be there. And both of those teams, well, the Eagles look good. They won their game. The Ravens had me looking like a genius for about 3.5 quarters until they kind of let that one get away from them. But the Packers are a team I got my eye on, man. Now, of course, the Commanders bring in Jaden Daniels, second-year quarterback. He handled his business, had a good opening game against division rival, the New York Giants. Their defense got after Russell Wilson in that game. I don't know that they're going to have the same kind of success going against the Packers because they're kind of going to have their work cut out for them with Jordan Love and that offense with the Packers that they're facing. So it won't be as easy as it was facing Russell Wilson, of course. But in this particular game, I will say this. I think the Packers and the Commanders are both going to be 2 tough teams. But I think in this particular game, you're going to see Michael Parsons and that team that just brought him in, spent all that money on him. The Packers prevail in this game, 27-23. My thinking behind this is the Packers, like I said, look very good. They beat up a Lions team. You saw Michael Parsons making immediate impact, got a sack, chased down Jared Goff from behind, stalked him like he was some kind of prey. And I think you're seeing a team that feels like they are a Super Bowl contender, a team that is right there in the mix. And, you already beat the Lions, who one of the top teams. Right now, you got the Eagles who looked a little shaky on defense maybe after week 1. So you're kind of saying, okay, we may have a chance here, man. We got this shiny new thing in Micah Parsons, and you got Jordan Love, who I was surprised to hear a lot of people are kind of, maybe on the fence about Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love has been pretty good so far since he's taken over that job in Green Bay. And I think he continues to progress. Like I said, I like them. I think this will be a fun game, an entertaining game, maybe one of the better matchups this week on a Thursday night. So a good way to kind of get the weekend kicked off with a pretty decent slate of games, man. So if you're scoring at home, we're taking the Packers in this one, 27-23. And like I said, it should be a fun, entertaining game. So now for our next game, the Jaguars going into Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Now, I had the Bengals almost as a lock to cover if you watch my against the spread pick 6. And I was way off base on that, man. The Bengals offense didn't really get rolling. Burrow didn't have a spectacular day. I think T. Higgins and Jamar Chase combined for maybe 56 yards or somewhere in there. Don't quote me on that. But it was in the 50s as far as many yards those guys had. Burrow, I don't even think got to 200 yards. Now, I will say they were facing Myles Garrett in a pretty good front in Cleveland, but that was a surprise to me that they weren't able to kind of put up more points in that game, and they only won 17-16. Now, of course, for the Bengals, it's just important to win at this point because they start off each season so slow. I think Burrow was 1-7 in his first 2 games of each year of his career so far, as what a stat I saw. So, this is an interesting game here because the Jaguars are a team that they probably should handle, but you got Trevor Lawrence over there, man. Now, the thing that the Jaguars did extremely well in their first game is they kind of dominated the Carolina Panthers was run the football. And Etienne was the guy who was the leading rusher behind, of course, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had a huge week as well, but Etienne was right there behind him with 143 yards rushing against Carolina. The Bengals defense, we know that's where they're kind of soft at, man. So will they be able to stop Etienne? Who knows, man? I think in this particular instance, though, I want to go with the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I got the Bengals winning this game 27-22. I think their offense will get rolling a little bit better than it did against the Cleveland Browns. So, you look at first week jitters, maybe trying to work some kinks out. You only played, 3 preseason games if your guys even got into a groove during that time. So these first games are kind of some fillers, and the Cincinnati Bengals, like I said, have been notorious for starting slow, but I think they get to 2-0. I think they beat the Jaguars. You got to take care of your home opener, protect your home field, and I think you'll see Joe Burrow handle his business and start to get Jamar Chase and T. Higgins a little bit more involved. Man, be on the lookout for Joe Mixon as well to maybe have a good day to kind of give them some balance as well on that side of the football. Now, our next game pits the Giants, the New York Giants, against the Dallas Cowboys. And that's, of course, a 1 p.m. game on Sunday as well. Surprise, surprise, the Cowboys actually look pretty good on Thursday night, man. Before the weather delay they had, they did a good job of running the ball. They also did a pretty good job of, throwing it for the most part. Dak didn't look too uncomfortable, in that game, despite, like I said, the Eagles losing Jalen Carter. I'm sure that probably helped with his comfortability level. But the Giants are probably in competition right now to be one of the worst teams in the league. I wanted to see what Russell Wilson did in that first game. He was not very inspiring, man. He looked old. He kind of continues to look that way now after stopping Pittsburgh and, was kind of decent at times, but still looked a little old. And, of course, what he did in Denver as well. Now coming to his 4th team in the last 5 years, man, it's kind of like, okay, what is Russell Wilson now? I've heard a lot of Giants fans online and saw them saying, you know what, we're just kind of waiting for Jackson Dart, and I've even heard people in the media say that they think we could see Jackson Dart maybe in this game. I don't know that that's the case. I don't know that Daboll, he kind of walked back at his press conference that Russell Wilson will be the starter, but that question was asked to him right after the game, and he said, hey, emotions are high, but I'm pretty sure Russell's going to be the guy to start. It's week 1. We'll work through some things. So he kind of shot him a little bit of bail, but Brian Daboll is a guy that is probably fighting for his job as a head coach. So I don't know that he has a lot of time to kind of play around with Russell Wilson and see if he's going to be able to produce. So, and of course, if you've been watching my content here for the last 4 years, one of my favorite players, if not maybe my favorite player in football, definitely, and probably in sports, is Jameis Winston, man. He is a quote machine. He is hilarious. And I think he's actually a good teammate, first and foremost. So He was the emergency quarterback last week. So they had Jackson Dart as the number 2 guy, actually. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what they do there. Do they go to Jameis first, or will they just go straight to Jackson Dart right away if Russell Wilson is not going to be the guy? But I think Russ will get a little bit more leash. But the unfortunate thing is I don't think he's going to do too well in this game either, man. Another division rivalry game. Dak, for the most part, has been pretty good against the NFC East in his career. Now, he's had some injuries, and that's when the Cowboys have had some troubles with some of the teams in their division. But I think they handled their business. They looked, like I said, pretty good against the Eagles in that game. It was kind of going back and forth, and both teams kind of slowed down once they had the weather delay for lightning. So in this one, Cowboys at home at Jerry's mausoleum, which has been for the past couple of years now, I guess, but at the Jerry Dome, as we like to call it, man, AT&T Stadium. I think the Cowboys handled their business in this one, 24-13 over the Giants. Giants, how long will Malik Neighbors kind of be cool with what's going on with the quarterback position? We'll see, man. We'll see. It's an interesting situation and something to keep an eye on, man. How short of a leash will they give Russell Wilson? Now, our next game, we pit the Chicago Bears going into Detroit, take on the Detroit Lions on Sunday at 1 p.m. Detroit was a disappointing team in week 1, man, and the Bears had one of those kind of come-from-ahead losses that you don't want to have, man. They were up 17-6 in that game against the Vikings and kind of fell apart. Caleb Williams did look good early on. I think he went 10 for 10 to start the game on Monday night and was, kind of dinking and dunking the ball down, getting it out of his hands, making some, plays with his feet as well. He started to miss some of the passes a little high, putting too much on him on some of those plays. So he did leave some stuff out there that probably could have helped that team maybe win that game. But, I'll say this. I think they look pretty good early on. And you got Ben Johnson coming back, former offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, coming back to Detroit to face his old team. I think he has some insight on some of the weapons, of course, that they have there. And he's very familiar with Jared Goff, a guy he worked closely with past couple years. So it'll be interesting to see if he has some wrinkles to kind of give his defense to say, hey, we can get after this guy a little bit, man. This is what makes him uncomfortable. This is how you handle Jahmyr Gibbs, or this is what they're going to probably try to do. It's good to have some familiarity coming into that as well. So the Lions, however, do need to kind of keep pace with the Packers that we were talking about before. Minnesota also won their game. So you don't want to get behind. This division was the toughest division in football last year. 14-3 got you the 2 seed in their own division and a wild card game on the road. So you look at that, you say, okay, you want to make sure you're kind of keeping pace with the teams that are in your division first and foremost. Don't want to go 0-2 Lions. If you're going to be a serious team, if it's not going to be the Detroit Lions of old, your daddy's Detroit Lions, my Detroit Lions, the Detroit Lions I've known my whole life, you better win this game against the Bears, man. And I think they will handle their business. I got them winning this one 27-20. I think you see Gibbs and Montgomery get going in this game. They did not have a good game against that tough Packers defense. I think they have a little bit more ability to kind of get into the open field, maybe with Jahmyr Gibbs playing inside on that turf. They'll be a little bit quicker maybe. And like I said, just getting the opportunity to get at home, get the home crowd behind you. So I got the Detroit Lions winning that one 27-20. Our next game on the slate is an old Super Bowl rematch of the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans, man. The Rams come in 1-0. The Titans, of course, lose their opener to the Broncos. They got number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. They're going to have to get Cam Ward some help, man. A lot of drop passes in that game against the Broncos. He looks like he could be a pretty good player, pretty good quarterback, but right now it's going to be tough for Tennessee to win games, man. Now, on the other hand, the Rams, they've won a close game. Weren't really too dynamic offensively, but their defense is pretty good, man, as they handle their business to put away the Houston Texans in there. Opener 14-9, I think, was the score in that game. Now, Matthew Stafford, of course, we talked about his back. We're going to keep monitoring that, seeing if he's going to be healthy. I think in this particular game, it's going to be a long season for the Titans, man. I think this is a good game for the Rams to get healthy. I think the Rams will look to try to get 2-0, make sure they kind of stay ahead of a team like San Francisco, who pulled out a tough win against the Seattle Seahawks on their opener. So you want to handle your business. I know it's a West Coast team going east, playing a 1 p.m. game. I usually say that's a tough spot for a team, but you get Tennessee in this particular instance, a team that's kind of rebuilding and trying to figure it out. I think it's a good good opportunity for them to give Williams the ball a lot at running back and try to start getting Devontae Adams kind of, involved in the offense a little bit more along with Stafford and see how you can kind of get some of that stuff working. So in this particular game, I got the Los Angeles Rams winning this game 27-16. I think they'll cover the spread and cover easily, actually. Titans are in the race right there with the Giants and the Dolphins and the Saints for who's going to be the worst team in the league, who's going to get the number 1 overall pick this year. They're one of those teams that could definitely be in the mix for that. So, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be 0-2 for them, and I think the Rams will move on to 2-0 and kind of keep pace at the very least with a team like the San Francisco 49ers in their division. Now, our next game, we just talked about worst teams in the league. The probably worst performance that you saw all of this past weekend in week 1 was the Dolphins. They were down 30-0 in the game at one point. They ended up losing it 33-8. The Colts, who they faced, scored on every possession. Now, they've had Peyton Manning, Johnny Unitas, Andrew Luck. I talked about Danny Dimes not being in that vein of quarterback. They made him look like that, though, did the Dolphins. He scored. He was the first Colts quarterback to ever lead a team to score on every single possession in the game. That's not a good sign, man. And I will say this. I don't know that the Dolphins are this bad. However, they did look pretty bad, man. I think it's a situation there where their coach is under fire. The quarterback is under fire. Their star receiver doesn't want to be there. It's just a bad situation, man. So, and you already kind of got a fan base in Miami that, they like the Dolphins and they love football, but that can be a fickle fan base if this team is not winning games, man. And it's going to be ugly for them, I think. But I think, lo and behold, they kind of get an opportunity to face a Patriots team that may not be that good yet. And the Patriots are kind of making some excuses. I thought they would beat the Raiders. They wound up losing that game. They didn't look very good. Of course, they got Drake May as their quarterback as well. You got a new head coach, Mike Vrabel. He's trying to implement and put his culture into things. Now, he played from, of course, Bill Belichick and played with Gerard Mayo at some point. So, kind of rebuilding the culture. Maybe that's a shot at Gerard Mayo. But he's saying, hey, it's going to take a little bit of time for us to get things rolling here. I don't like to hear that from my head coach and from my organization. So I think the Patriots will be in trouble in this one, man. I think the Dolphins have enough with Tua and with Tyreek Hill and Jason and Waddle to put up enough points in this game to go ahead and win this one 21-16. So I would stay away from this game if you're the betting type. However, I wouldn't touch this one with a 10-foot pole just because, man, it's two teams who probably are going nowhere fast. So I would definitely start to stay away from that. And our next game that we have on our slate, 1 p.m. game, we keep talking about who's going to be the worst team in the league. Another candidate for that, the New Orleans Saints. That's my prediction at the start of the season. I think just based on their quarterback situation with Spencer Rattler and just new coach and Kellen Moore, team that is kind of devoid of a lot of talent, it's going to be a tough road for them. Now, this is an old NFC West from way back in the day rivalry that the 49ers used to beat up on the Saints a long time ago. I think you kind of see that again now. The Saints, surprisingly, were in that game against the Cardinals, but again, it's the Arizona Cardinals, man. I was surprised by the number that was given to them in that game as far as getting 6.5 points. Now, they didn't cover in the game. They lost 20-13, but I will say they looked better than I thought they would. I thought they would probably get beaten a lot worse than that actual 6.5 point spread, but it's why the people in Vegas make a lot of money and got all those buildings. They were kind of right on it, man. So this game, I'm not going to trouble you with it. Of course, the 49ers lost Kittle. I think Purdy may have some injury situations, but as far as I know, he's going to go in this game. So if you got Purdy in this game, I think the 49ers won't have any issues. They'll take this one 24-17, move to 2-0, keep pace with a team like the Rams, another West Coast team going east for a 1 o'clock game. But like I said, I think they'll have the perfect matchup to help them make sure they remain undefeated early on in the season. So scoring at home, we got the 49ers winning this one 24-17. Of course, our next game, we stay in the AFC East. We go to New York as the Buffalo Bills take on the New York Jets. Now, the Jets were a surprise team in week 1, man. They put up a lot of points in that game. Justin Fields looked pretty good battling against former Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers. So that was a shootout, one of the more entertaining games in week 1 before the last-second field goal actually put the Steelers over the top against the Jets. I think the Jets will be a competitive team. Of course, they got a new coach in Aaron Glenn as well as new quarterback as well. But the Bills are supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, right? And they had maybe the most exciting game of the weekend to talk about. The Jets have a pretty exciting game. Coming from behind, down 40-25 with 3:56 left to win their game, 41-25 over the Baltimore Ravens. Now, although they won that game, and it's better to maybe learn some lessons as you win versus losing the game, it could be the Baltimore Ravens in this instance. I'll say this: Buffalo has some work to do on the defensive end. Now, they did face probably the best offense in the league, so you got to cut them a little bell for that. But the Jets showed they're more than capable of putting some points on the board as well. So this will be a good test for them in this particular game. I think this one will be another shootout, man, another entertaining game. Now, watch both of these teams make me look like an idiot, and they don't put up a lot of points. But I'm going with this one and saying the Buffalo Bills will win. Simply put, man, Josh Allen, if he ain't one, he's 1A, if not 1A. He's right there with Lamar Jackson and right there with Patrick Mahomes as far as being considered the best QB in the league. And they're doing it without a great running game. James Cook is a decent running back, but they weren't able to get the running game rolling. It was Josh Allen pretty much turning sugar in ish in the sugar, for lack of a better term, as far as getting them that victory in week one. So he's a guy that is pretty unstoppable at the quarterback position, man. And I think he comes into the Meadowlands or MetLife or whatever they're calling it now and gets a victory, 35-30 in this particular game. They moved to 2-0, and the Jets are heartbreaking 0-2, but, some moral victories to say, hey, we played two pretty good teams. We're right in it with them. And I think we can kind of forecast that, hey, they're going to be a tough team to deal with all season. So that's my prediction for that one. Bills winning this one 35-30. Now, our next game takes us to the aforementioned Pittsburgh Steelers as they welcome in the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Seahawks with new quarterback Sam Darnold took a heartbreaking loss against the 49ers. And Aaron Rodgers looked like he turned the clock back, man. 4-touchdown game in his debut as a Pittsburgh Steeler. A lot of people are wondering if that was fool's gold, if Aaron Rodgers is really washed or does he still have it. He said, hey, people have greatly exaggerated my demise. I'm still here. I'm still a great football player and one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And, it's put up a shutout time. He did put up 4 touchdowns and led his team to a victory. But I think some of that may have been a little bit of, fool's gold, as you may say. I don't know that they are going to be as great as they were offensively in that game against the Jets. But I do think in this particular game they have enough to beat the Seahawks. Seahawks defense is still kind of trying to figure things out. The running game didn't really get going against against the 49ers either in week one. And I just think, hey, man, Sam Darnold is probably crashed back down to earth. He's back to life, back to reality, man. He had a great season last year. Kevin O'Connell, of course, the quarterback whisperer, seems to be able to kind of put his hands on quarterbacks and turn them around. But he doesn't have the luxury of having that guy anymore. He's out of Minnesota now. So maybe we see Sam Darnold's true colors coming back. In this particular game, I'm going to go with the old man, Aaron Rodgers, and the Steelers home opener winning 23-18. I think it should be a defensive struggle of some sorts, man. I don't know that you're going to see, like I said, that 4-touchdown, high-octane offense you saw last week from Pittsburgh, but I think they do enough. And you see T.J. Watt kind of licking his chops to get after Sam Darnold in this game. So the Steelers will take that one. Now, the next game I have, team that I'm very disappointed in, and I hope they get themselves together and stop doing what they did this past Sunday night. The Baltimore Ravens are going to welcome in the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland, a team that, again, could be in the mix as one of the worst teams along with the Colts. Along with the Dolphins and the Saints and the Giants, who we have aforementioned. Now, the Browns actually had a pretty good showing in week one. We told you they stuck in there, good defense, kind of held that passing game that we saw from Cincinnati be so prolific last year and Joe Burrow in check. But this is a different animal, though, man. You got the Ravens coming to town, you're coming to town to see the Ravens. You got to deal with Lamar Jackson. You got to deal with Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers had a wonderful game. DeAndre Hopkins even showed up, caught 2 passes, a one-handed touchdown, which was spectacular. For 3.5 quarters, the Ravens looked like the Super Bowl favorites. They look like the best team in the NFL, definitely the best offense, but that kind of collapse that they had, we've seen before from them, unfortunately, and they just seem to lack focus at times. I don't think they're going to run into that issue in this particular game just because, hey, they kind of got that out the way. Hopefully they've gotten it out of their system too. You got to be a serious football team, Baltimore Ravens, okay? Handle your business, man. And I think they're going to take this out on the Cleveland Browns. I expected Cleveland to get worked over last week. Didn't really happen. I'm saying the Ravens are going to put up a big number on them. I got them winning this one 41-17. Make things right, okay? Look, just handle your business. You're better than this team. Don't play with your food. Eat it and get rid of it and be done with it. Handle the Browns in this game. I got them winning this one 41-17. Don't let me down, Ravens, okay, man? I'm rooting for you guys, so don't let me down. Show some seriousness about yourselves and handle your business, man. The next game that we have starts off our 4 o'clock slate. We got the Broncos of Denver traveling to Indianapolis to take on Indiana Jones, as he's been affectionately nicknamed now, Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, and the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts were a surprise team for me. I'm not going to lie. I kept seeing what the 1-point spread, they were favorites. I didn't really understand it. I'll admit, I didn't watch any preseason football of Danny Dimes. I heard Zaire Franklin, one of their defensive players, saying it's going to be different this year, man. We got, Danny's in a different environment. I didn't really believe that. I'm going to be real with you. He looked Peyton Manning-esque, Andrew Luck-esque, Johnny Unitas-esque in that game against the Dolphins, but they were facing a wounded fish, literally. The Dolphins were dead in the water, did not show any life. Tua was horrible in that game. And the Colts defense is pretty good already. So, I think they do have a defense that can make some trouble. And in particular in this game, a team that I don't believe in, a lot of people have a lot of high stock in, is the Denver Broncos, because I don't believe in their quarterback, Bo Nix. Bo Nix did not look great against Tennessee. He just so happened to face a team that, was overmatched. This week, I don't know that he's facing a team that's as overmatched. They got some weapons over there with Jonathan Taylor, of course, and, some good quarterback play, might I say, from Daniel Jones. We'll see if he can continue that trend, but I don't know that the Colts will have the kind of performance that we saw in week 1. But I do think the Colts will take this particular game. I got them winning this one by a field goal, 20-17. Again, for me, I just don't know that Bo Nix is the guy who a lot of people thinks that he is. I think he's going to find himself in some trouble in this particular game with a pretty good defense that the Colts will put out there. And, again, I think a guy like Zaire Franklin at linebacker is going to be able to kind of stop their running game a little bit and make Bo Nix have to beat you. And I don't know that he's capable of doing that right now. The next game that we have on deck, the Carolina Panthers traveling to Arizona, out to the West Coast to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals took care of business in week 1. They won their game against the Saints. And like I said, week 1, you just want to kind of win in advance, I guess, at this point, man. You feel a lot better about yourselves when you win week 1 versus losing. Panthers went into Jacksonville. They got smacked around by Jacksonville, so they are not feeling as good about themselves as they thought they would be. Bryce Young, their quarterback, a lot of people thought he'd turn the page, thought maybe some of the stuff he showed towards the end of last season would kind of lead them to get off to a good start. He looked like the Bryce Young that got benched last week. And unfortunately, that's not a good thing, man. Now, the good news is the Cardinals are no great shakes, so I don't think this is a situation where they're running into a team that's just going to dominate them or, that should be as tough to beat. The Cardinals aren't traditionally a team that has such a tough environment to play in. Usually back in the day, you could get a lot of your fans in the building. So I think there's a potential here for the Panthers, maybe to get a little bit healthy, maybe to get back on track or kind of get themselves rolling. However, I'm going to trust in Kyler Murray a little bit more than I will Bryce Young, the pocket hamster. Kyler Murray, to me, is one of the most entertaining players in the NFL, man. He's moving all around the field. He's a little stocky guy who can kind of make some plays, make all the throws. And like I said, man, they got a young wide receiver over there, Marvin Harrison Jr., that I want to kind of see kind of step into that elite role or get to that level that people are predicting him to be at. So it'll be fun to see how that pans out. But in this particular game, I got the Cardinals winning 24-20. I think they'll handle their business and make sure that they make the Panthers fall to 0-2 on the year. And you start looking at Bryce Young again and saying, okay, is this going to be the guy? Because another 0-2 start, another slow start. It's a new regime already there. Things can get kind of bad pretty early. So Hopefully I'm wrong, Panthers, but I'm usually not. I'm a know-it-all, man. So I think the Panthers will find themselves at 0-2, and the Cardinals will keep pace as well with San Francisco in their division and the Los Angeles Rams and remain 2-0 and undefeated. The next game is probably the game of the week. You got a rematch of the Super Bowl, man. And allow me to take this time to say my Eagles did their thing, of course, smacked the Kansas City Chiefs in this game, 40-22 last year in the Super Bowl. Now, the thing about this isn't the Super Bowl. This is not, I mean, I guess you could say it's a revenge game. That's what you saw Baltimore kind of preaching when they played Buffalo going back into their week one. But there will be no Super Bowl rings handed out for this one. And I think that's a good thing for both teams, actually. The Eagles maybe got caught up in a little bit of the pump and circumstance going against the Cowboys on opening night. That's always an interesting game to kind of see how teams will play that out, man. They had a weather delay, so that was a little weird as well. Those opening night games always seem to be a little uneven. You're, like I said, celebrating what happened last season is kind of the last bit of that. And then you're trying to get your season going. You got a team usually that's either a division rival or somebody who wants to ruin all of that for you. And the Cowboys did try to play spoiler. They were able to do that. But I'll give my Eagles a pass. They also didn't play with Jalen Carter. Jalen will be back for this game. He dodged the suspension. He, I guess, has a retroactive suspension. They said since he didn't make a snap in that game, they're counting that as a suspension. And he was fined as well for spitting on Dak Prescott. Now, the Chiefs also have a bit of a conundrum. They went to Brazil and proceeded to get beaten pretty easily, I would say, or surprisingly anyway, by Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the best thing that probably happened to the Chargers was they didn't have to play at home because usually they don't really have a real home field advantage. So it was a situation where you're playing way down in Brazil. It's a Friday night. Is this just a situation where the Chiefs kind of got caught slipping? Who knows, man? For the first time in, I think the maybe last 8 years or so, they sit in last place right now in the AFC West. And this is a team who continues to win that division, whether it's Alex Smith or Patrick Mahomes or whoever's at the helm. Andy Reid-led Kansas City team is usually the best team in the AFC West. It can get late early, Now, we saw them kind of playing a lot of one-score games and pull them out. They had the record for the most wins in a row for one-score games. I think it was 17 and 14 of them maybe last year or 11 or some kind of crazy number. I don't have those stats right in front of me. But that being said, they lose a one-score game right out of the gate this year. So how do you bounce back from that if you're the Chiefs? You get a home game, maybe you get some motivation against the Eagles, but I'll be 100% unbiased in this and saying I don't think the Chiefs will get off the mat just yet, man. I got my Eagles winning this one 33-28. I think the Eagles have something to prove. I think Jalen Carter wants something to prove. I also think they kind of feel like, hey, they may have the Chiefs number. I felt pretty confident when them playing the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl. I think they thought they should have beat them the first time they met in the Super Bowl. So I think they feel like this is a pretty good matchup for them. And I think you'll see them prevail in this one, 33-28. And again, 0-2 for the Chiefs. You start looking at things and saying, hey, how's this season going to go? We got to get it back on track quickly. A lot of people think that window may be closing. Is it a chance for a team like Buffalo or Baltimore maybe to kind of state their claim to being the best team in the AFC? We'll see. I'm not saying that yet. I never bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid as far as being one of the better teams. I guess I kind of do bet against them because I never pick them to get to the Super Bowl just because the Chiefs are a boring team to kind of keep penciling in there. So that's why I went with the Ravens again for the second straight year. But I think we could really be looking at, hey, is this the end of this sort of dynasty that these guys have built, or can they keep it going a little bit longer? Right now, I think the Eagles take this one and start those questions to happening in Kansas City. Now, the next game we have, man, pits two teams who are maybe going in different directions. We'll see. Two second-year quarterbacks. You got the Atlanta Falcons who, as much as things change, the more they stay the same. Lose another game late because their kicker missed the kick that could have sent the game to overtime. And then the Vikings with J.J. McCarthy, who, man, the internet was having a field day with the way he played the first half / first 2.5 quarters of that game against the Bears. It looks like it was going to be a bad situation for him. He threw a nasty pick six that you just can't do And after that, it seems like he snapped out of it. And they went on a run, won that game. He found a guy in Justin Jefferson, who you probably should try to find, Jay Jettis, man. Good idea if you're a quarterback, get that guy the ball. This is an interesting matchup. Sunday night, the Falcons need this game. They got to try to keep pace with Tampa Bay. And the Vikings, who are 1-0, want to keep pace with the Packers, like we said, man. Want to make sure they're trying to stay above the fray against a team like Detroit. They're in a tough division. I think in this particular instance, the Atlanta Falcons go to the blueprint they had last year, man. You lose a tough opener. People are questioning the offense, questioning what's going on. Why did you keep the kicker? Take it out of the kicker's hands this time, man. Go win the game. Michael Penix Jr., that's what you go do, man. He essentially tried to do that on this past Sunday, but, of course, defense didn't hold up. So, and this one, though, I think having watched both of those teams kind of closely this past week, I think the Falcons get back off the schneid. I think they win this game. And a close one, 28-27. I will say this, Michael Penix Jr. looks like he's ready for prime time. And we saw J.J. McCarthy already playing his first primetime game, his first start. So both of these guys, young quarterbacks, have an opportunity to kind of state their claim on a national television game where everyone's watching and see who's going to be able to prevail. I think the Falcons take this one, like I said, 28-27. I think it's close, though. It could go either way. And Falcons, do yourself a favor. Don't need a field goal to win this game because I think there's no confidence from anybody in Atlanta that Koo will be able to provide you with that victory. So take it out of his hands. Go win it yourself, Mr. Penix Jr. Now, this week, we're blessed to have 2 Monday night games, a doubleheader. Sometimes we see the NFL do this on week 1. They'll put the doubleheaders up on Monday Night Football. This week, they did it week 2. I think that was the same thing last year, kind of letting teams maybe ease into it. And the first game that we have on Monday night is the Buccaneers taking on the Houston Texans. Now, Houston, of course, team that's won their division a couple times. C.J. Stroud, good young quarterback, but their offensive line, it's a little shaky. They got some injuries, of course, on the outside, but are they able to come home and get right after not looking too good on opening day against the LA Rams? And the Buccaneers, the team who we just talked about, beat the Falcons. Of course, Baker Mayfield, who seems to take a lot of pride in kind of sticking it to the Falcons, was able to get their young rookie wide receiver involved in that game. Emeka Ibuku is a guy who is super talented, out of Ohio State, first-round pick. He looked the part. He got 2 touchdowns in that game against the Falcons. He's going to be a tough guy to stop. But I think the Texans, with some home cooking, will handle their business. I think my guy DeMeco Ryans and my guy C.J. Stroud will be able to say, you know what, Tampa Bay not so fast, man. We're going to take this one at home. I got the Houston Texans winning this one 31-27. I think it'll be another exciting game. I think you'll see some big plays made by C.J. Stroud. Hopefully he gets the protection he needs so he can hit his receivers and be able to kind of perform the way he's capable of performing. And our last game of this week faces the Los Angeles Chargers going into Las Vegas to take on the Raiders and Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. Of course, they went to New England, won their game. The Chargers sneakily could be the team to beat in the AFC West. It's still early, but we talked about the possible demise or closing of the window for the Chiefs. Are the Chargers the team that steps up? If you're asking me, I got a motto: don't ever trust the Chargers, man. Justin Herbert, as much as I love him, he's helped me win a fantasy championship before. I think he's pretty good at putting up some good stats and good numbers, but it doesn't always translate to big games or the playoffs. And we've seen him kind of falter in those situations. I like the coach and Jim Harbaugh. I also like Pete Carroll a lot too, and I like Geno Smith, man. This particular game, I think will be a close game, but again, I'm gonna go with my head and maybe my heart and Jim Harbaugh. I got a lot of respect for. I think the Chargers take this particular game 30-23. I think they start to state the claim and say, hey, Denver could be in trouble. I don't know that I trust Denver too much. The Raiders, we got a chance to beat them and get up on them, and the Chiefs could be in trouble. Let's try to get off to a good start. Take care of your business, Chargers. If you're going to be a serious contender, if you're going to be the team that thinks they can win this division, this is a game you got to win on the road on Monday night. Take care of your business, beat the Raiders, get up 2-0, and maybe take a pretty nice handle on the AFC West. Those are my predictions for this particular week, man. Week 2, all of our games those are my predictions for these. That's my predictions for all of the games here for week 2, man. You guys tell me what you think. What do you think? Do you think we got these games right today, man? Week 1, I told you, give me a little bit of grace. I'm kind of getting locked in now, man. I've seen a lot of these teams already. Still need to keep my eyes on some of the other teams. So, like I said, it's still early in the season. So even if we don't have the best showing, it's only week 2. But trust me, we're going to be there at the end, man. And that's what you should maybe think about your team, man. Are they going to be there at the end? If they fall to 0-2, Chiefs, here's looking at you. Will they still be there? Who knows, man? But you guys, tell me what you think. Give me your comments down below. Of course, do me a favor and like this video and subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you don't miss a thing. We do this each and every Thursday. It gets you set for your football weekend, man. So make sure you share this, like we say, with a friend. And you can share it with a hater too, man, because they're going to hate. They're going to leave comments and say, you don't know what you're talking about. We welcome that as well, man. It's all fun and games, man. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you stay tuned. Be on the lookout as well for our pick 6 that will drop. We're going to give you games against the spread, man. Who's going to cover? Who's not going to cover? Who's going to be the upset this week? We got all that covered for you, man. We're going to do a lot better. I promise you this week, man. I am Earl Knows It All. Signing off, you guys. Enjoy these week 2 games. Enjoy the Thursday night game. I think it's a good one. I'm going to get me a cold one, maybe some popcorn, and see what my guy Jordan Love is going to do. Y'all be easy.